Now, it's the end of an era for many on Tyneside as a passenger ferry with an impressive service record officially retires. The Shieldsman has been taking passengers from North Shields to South Shields and back again for over 3 decades.
But now it faces a whole new life as a nightclub on the Solent. The anonymous entrepreneur who's bought the boat will take official ownership tomorrow. Leisha Hayes went for one final look round.
Proud and sturdy still, if a little rusty around the edges, the Shieldsman's interior gives a clue to the length of this boat's public service. The woodchip veneer covers every wall, and on the ceiling, the original Tyne & Wear Passenger Transport Executive logo. The company name has since been changed to a much more modern Nexus, and the ferry will soon start its second life as a trendy bar on the Solent, having been replaced by the £2 million Spirit of the Tyne. But some of the old hands have stayed loyal to the Shieldsman.
You do get attached to them, and if at the time the 2 vessels, this one and the Pride at the time, this one is actually better to drive, which is more steady than the new vessel. She'll be a great loss. I think she's served the public well, but sadly she's getting to the age now where, you know, something had to be done. We done a feasibility study on her, and it found it was cheaper to buy a new vessel.
Now, records show that people were making this exact journey by ferry as early as 1377. But modern-day passenger ferries like this one have an average lifespan of 10 to 15 years. The Shieldsman was exceptional. During her 30 years in service, it's estimated she carried more than 10 million people back and forth across the Tyne. At the turn of the century, paddle steamers were used, and in the 20s there were 11 ferry routes across the Tyne, but the demand fell with the demise of the shipyards and later with the building of the Tyne Tunnel. Passengers on board today were nostalgic.
If I missed the van for work and I used to work at the shipyards, I could get the ferry across now, so it was ideal.
There was a lot more people coming from South Shields to North Shields. They'd come over here for the fishing place where you can get the fresh fish and that. Then they would travel back over to South Shields for the markets.
We used to come over for kippers to North Shields. Aye.
The shipyards on both sides of the river booming, and this is where the ferries came in handy to go to, work.
We used to carry a lot of shipyard workers from both sides, north and south. And in the heyday, we used to do quick trips. Where now we just do a half-hourly trip, we used to do a 20-minute trip in between. So you could get them to work and get them home.
The Shieldsman's never been at sea, but no doubt she'll be as trustworthy as ever when she's tugged south for her new life on the Solent. Leisha Hayes, ITV Tyne Tees, aboard the Shields ferry.
I'm sure the clubbers will have a good time on that down south.
Yeah.
But you just saw some lovely archive footage there, and we're about to show you some more, because all this week we've been celebrating our 50th birthday here at Tyne Tees. It is actually 50 years ago today that we started broadcasting to the North East. Well, not us personally, but you get the drift.
Yeah. Well, we're marking that with a series of special... what are we doing?
Features.
Features, that's right. Looking back at some of the programmes and personalities from the last 5 decades.
And tonight we have reached the 90s, where, as Rob Williams reports, we covered some momentous stories, but also had some rather good news of our own.
Tyne Tees Television, Channel 8.